Will there be a sequel called Twice? Don't laugh. Don't laugh at it. You weren't laughing anyway, but don't laugh. That was a terrible scene.
Incredibly serious. Once, twice, 3 times a lady.
Love it. You're feeling right now. I mean, everyone's asking you if you're nervous, so I won't even ask you. But I mean, can you take in what's happening in the past couple of months?
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes I understand it in waves. Or not understand it, but I experience it in waves. Usually it's extremely out of body. Like right now.
Are you pretty starstruck? I mean, were you a huge Broadway fan growing up and stuff? Is there anyone on the red carpet where you're like, oh my god, that was just...
Not really. I gotta say, no.
Okay.
I would freak out if like Fiona Apple was here or Bob Dylan was here.
Okay.
That's like where I would freak.
Glenn, answer. That's not...
We know each other.
You know, I know you're doing a lot of press, so I'll try to ask you something that maybe no one else would ask you. And that's, Mel Brooks had a huge hit with the producers, and not so much Young Frankenstein. You were in his Men in Tights, and I'm just curious.
I was, yeah.
Would you ever reprise the role on Broadway if the opportunity?
Anything to do with Mel Brooks is a sensationally flattering thing to be in.
Yeah.
When we made the film Men in Tights, Mel Brooks would say action, and you do a scene, and then he'd say cut, and he'd say surprisingly good, which is good, isn't it? It's like, but he's the funniest man in the world, and if I could make him laugh sometimes when I was acting, it was a thrill, and then I could die and go to heaven, because Mel Brooks is one of the funniest men, one of the nicest men. I had such a happy time on that movie. So if he calls me out, I'm ready. I can tell you that.
How does it feel to be part of such like a musical that no one's seeing and it's not getting like the accolades it deserves, based on like a very acclaimed movie? How does it feel to be part of all that?
I mean, honestly, it's incredible. We seem to be one of the hits of the season, which is exciting, but we came from small beginnings. No one really thought that we were ever going to be on Broadway. When I did the first reading a couple of years ago, they had sort of said that this was just for licensing purposes, just so they could sell it to like high schools. And I honestly didn't believe that we were ever going to be here. And the fact that we're so well represented is incredible.
I mean, do you think, and this is totally, you have no say in this, and neither do I, but you know how Newsies was not exactly the most acclaimed movie. Yeah. Now it's an acclaimed Broadway show. Now there's talk about maybe making the show a movie.
Oh God!
Do you think that's going to happen?
I mean, I don't know. I'm one of the big fans of the original film. Just it has that awesome cult status for me. So I would be interested to see if they would go back.
Pretty cool.
Sure thing. Yes.
Yeah. You want to like lobby for a role in it? Or?
I mean, by the time that gets made, I can probably play Pulitzer. So.
Yeah. So, do you really not have a Tony?
I do not have a Tony.
You don't have a Tony?
I have Tony nominations, but no Tony.
Don't you have every single award except the Tony then?
Things like this. I have no Emmy.
You don't have an Emmy?
He has not EGOTed.
I'm a deprived child.
Oh, well, come on. 11 Oscars?
I have 8 Oscars.
11. I'm sorry, I'm just going into the future.
Let's go.
Sorry, I just saw that.
43.
It's 11 Grammys? Is that what it is?
11 Grammys.
But do awards validate for you, or is it just kind of nice to have?
They validate for the world. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't really gauge my success by awards. I gauge it, frankly, by box office.
Right.
To be honest, you want people to support your shows, to go to see your shows, and to buy records and to love it. If awards come along the way, that's great.
When you're working on a show, are you simultaneously working on another show?
Always. Yeah, of course.
It's always working on this, and this.
Never put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
Never.
You sometimes get mixed up with what show you're writing, and you like write something for Newsies, but it's in Sister Act.
No.
Like, it never happens. You never get like, okay.
Every show has its own personality.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. Sometimes I get confused as to which show I'm actually backstage at, but
right.
That's something else.
Seriously, do you know where you are right now?
Not sure.